Hi, welcome to CDMP TV. I'm Izzy and this is Daisy, and today we're going to be talking about Endgame.
Do you want to talk about the impact that Endgame had?
Yeah.
Like for the MCU, because I feel like Endgame, it's the same with No Way Home. It's one of those films that is just like, it was so big and relevant to the entire universe. Everybody went mad for it.
Yeah, it was one of those things where no one really expected what was going to happen.
Because I didn't know that Iron Man was going to do
Neither did I.
that.
I didn't know Captain America was going to do that.
And like, it has like specific scenes in it which will just be iconic for the rest of time. Like, even with DC Universe, like every single superhero movie, Endgame pivoted it. Like,
everyone knows Endgame, whether or not they've watched Marvel. Everyone knows what happens. Everyone knows Iron Man dies.
And Black Widow.
Yeah.
Like, it sets everything up in Infinity War like so well, and then in Endgame there was that element of hope at the end.
Yeah.
And admittedly they still won, but it was just like the consequences that came out of that.
Yeah, I think they won, but a lot of people felt like they lost because they lost some of the main characters and the most important people.
Yeah, and I feel like it's one of like the biggest films for the MCU because that was the last time anyone's going to see all of the original Avengers together.
Yeah.
And it started the next phase.
Yeah, it was the last time everyone could ever see the OG 6 Avengers together. That's never going to happen again. It's never going to be seen in like TV history.
No, and it's the first time that there's been like that amount, like that mass of like everyone in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. That was the first time
there was so many people.
Seen.
That big fight scene when everyone came out, everyone was there, everyone saw it.
That scene is just so important for the rest, like for every single thing that came up after Endgame, and like the TV shows that Disney Plus has like released. All of that has stemmed from Endgame.
Yeah, every single thing Disney's done since Endgame is been led on from Endgame.
Yeah, like Marvel wise, that Endgame just made it.
Yeah.
Like properly just
like
made
WandaVision after, and Loki after.
Like
Falcon and the Winter Soldier after.
And with No Way Home, that I feel like Endgame made that more impactful because especially with Spider-Man, the fact that nobody like remembered him after the spell. If Iron Man was still alive, then that would have made it so much worse.
Yeah, that would have made like a totally different storyline if he was still alive.
But now it's just like he's lost Aunt May, he's lost his uncle, he's lost his like next father figure, which was Tony Stark. Yeah. He's lost everyone.
He's lost his best friends.
And now he just has no one.
He's alone.
But that, and like from Endgame, that was his like first massive involvement after Civil War with everyone. And then it just all like crumbled, but that would not have been as impactful if it wasn't for Endgame.
Yeah.
Like, it just changed things.
I feel like as well though in Endgame, some of Captain America's death, his death wasn't as impacted as it could have been.
Yeah.
I feel like his whole storyline was kind of ruined by him going back in time.
Yeah, like the end, like admittedly they did have, like he did get his dance and everyone was like, that is like, I was bawling my eyes out. But the thing with like his storyline, I feel like people were disappointed because they wanted something like as big as Iron Man's end.
It felt kind of just like half-handed. Like, oh, I need to do something for him and just do that.
Yeah, like, and I don't like the fact that he gave his shield to Sam.
No, I
it was
don't Bucky.
Like it.
Bucky.
Should have been Bucky.
It should have been Bucky.
It should have been Bucky.
It always should have been Bucky, and I don't know why it wasn't.
Neither. But the thing is, with like Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I hated the way they tried to replace Captain America.
No, yeah, I didn't like it. I didn't like it. I didn't like the way that they tried to replace Captain America. I feel like when Cap gave his trophy to Sam, it was kind of more like everyone was like surprised, and then he kind of just gave it away. And
exactly, he just like put it in the he put it in the museums.
Yeah.
And then like obviously they gave it to John, but like I didn't like it.
Neither.
I feel like he could have had like a much better ending than he did, but it just wasn't.
I feel like Nat could have as well, because there was never a funeral. There was nothing.
It should have been Clint. I'm sorry.
No, it still should have been Natasha.
What?
It should have been Natasha.
How?
Because Clint had a family and children and like a life.
Yeah, but Black Widow, so is Natasha.
Yeah, like I didn't want her to die, but at the end, what did she have?
Literally a family. Her sister and then her, like the honorary parents.
Well, yeah, but like
Nah, I
It
think
still should have been Clint. Oh wait, no, it should have been Natasha.
It should have been Clint. You've said it now, you can't go back.
It should have been Natasha.
No,
Yeah.
But
As much as I didn't want it to die.
Thing is, I liked their bit a lot more than I did Thanos and Gamora's in Infinity War, because I feel like that wasn't as, like, with Clint and Natasha, they've had that bond for so long, so that was like a lot more dramatic.
I feel like the whole Thanos and Gamora thing, it was kind of just expected that he was going to turn back on her again.
But to be fair, with the whole thing at the end of Endgame, when all of Thanos' army and Gamora got like washed away again, and then obviously that set up the next Guardians of the Galaxy film, and like with Thor and that, like that set that up for finding Gamora, but that she's died, like the first time that she died, like when Thanos sacrificed her, it
felt like kind of like forgettable.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like everyone kind of forgets that she's actually dead.
Because like the two main deaths were Black Widow and Iron Man.
And Captain America. Well, Captain America didn't die though,
Not really, he didn't die, he just got old.
Yeah.
But like, it just wasn't as impactful as it could have been.
I feel like her death should have been more like forced in, same with Nats.
Yeah.
Both of their deaths happened the same way and nobody seemed to really care that much.
Like in Infinity War, when like the blip happened, I feel like what they did with Spider-Man was so good, because then in like,
Endgame, when he like runs in and
and then like they have a hug, and like, and the parallel between Infinity War and Endgame, where like Iron Man's like hugging him when he's dying, and then when like Peter Parker comes up to him when Iron Man's like after the snap, and then he's like, "We won, Mr. Stark." Like that was so good. It was
and then
so
it's the
good.
parallel back to like Civil War, when Peter thinks Tony's giving him a hug, when in reality he's just opening the door.
Yeah.
The parallels back to that and shows how like
how
their relationships
like
progressed.
formed. And then, but the thing is, like, and then that all of that led up to No Way Home.
Yeah.
Where he just didn't have
anything. He's all alone. He's kind of like back to where it was in like original Spider-Man and Civil War, where he still had Ned and May then, but he didn't really have anyone else.
Yeah.
And he was alone. It's kind of gone back to them.
And then he's like gone in with the Avengers, and they've like recognised him as part of
the family.
Yeah, exactly. Like, thing is, when like they're in space, and then the Guardians of the Galaxy come up, and then like Peter Parker says like, "We're the Avengers, man." Like, and nobody like gives him a look or anything. Like, he is recognised as an Avenger.
Yeah, and it's the parallel to like No Way Home, when he says like, none of you's heard of the Avengers.
Right, I say band. But like, I feel like Endgame just shows a lot of character like development. Like Peter Parker with the Avengers, then Iron Man, because people thought that Tony Stark was just like a billionaire who was like selfish and all that, but it shows that he
can be a fatherly figure.
Yeah, like for Morgan and for Peter.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, it shows so much character development.
And it showed like in this, like near the start, near like the start of Endgame, that like he still has all those memories of Peter around. Like he still had the photo from the first time like they properly met and stuff.
And then like with Homecoming, like afterwards, all of the like the film that like the student made film of like all of those that they lost, and like it's sad. It's so sad. And Marvel have done it in a way that everybody knows that the storyline needed to happen. Yeah. But it doesn't take away from how.
There's no way that the storyline could have gone a different way.
Like, and I appreciate like what they did. Like, obviously I didn't want any of them to like die, but it needed to happen.
I feel like Endgame as well, it also and mostly Endgame kind of redeveloped the friendship that was broken between Tony and Steve in Civil War.
Like when Tony said like, everything special that like about you came out of a bottle,
and when Steve said to Tony that you can't call yourself a hero,
you're just a man in a suit.
Yeah.
Like, and then obviously Tony sacrificed himself for the entire world, and then like Steve got Thor's hammer. Like, it just shows the
progression of everything, and the fact that they're both like trustworthy again.
And like, it just shows that, because then they work together. Like, they worked together after that, even though after Civil War, obviously Tony was like locked everyone up. They can actually work together, even though in the beginning of Endgame, was it Infinity War? No, the beginning of Infinity War, when Tony like had to call Steve.
Yeah.
And he was like really hesitant to do so.
Yeah, he just didn't want to.
But then it like progressed from there.
Yeah. Endgame was this like rebuilt up the friendship that they'd lost.
And I feel like that was important as well.
Yeah.
But then all the relationships built up, but then obviously they were lost at the end.
Every single relationship, I think nearly all the relationships were built up a lot in that movie and then broken down right at the end.
And that's what makes it so like big, like so big. It's just, and the parallels that they did in Endgame, like On Your Left, that was incredible. Like obviously because Captain America then knew like that Sam was there, and it was just so incredible.
It really brought, I think it brought like everything together. It just brought the whole MCU into one big thing. It was no longer just like, the Black Panther movies, the Doctor Strange movies.
It brought everyone
Everything
together.
was together.
And that's what made it so like influential.
And memorable.
Exactly, because like, and also at that point nobody in the audience actually knew what was going to happen with Steve. Like, 'cause obviously it was him against all of Thanos' army. But then everyone heard On Your Left, and it was like,
once everyone heard that, everyone knew that something really big was going to happen, that was just going to change
everything.
Yeah.
And then like when Steve, when everyone's there and like everyone's been like reunited and all that, and then he says Avengers Assemble and the music starts.
Yeah. That's when I think that's like one of those moments that's like changed TV history.
I start crying
so much. I feel like everyone cried at that film.
Like it's so big for the entire MCU that it's impossible not to like feel emotional about it. And it's like seeing every single person that you've like grown up watching together. Like it's like in No Way Home, all three Spider-Man.
It was kind of like you grew up watching the Spider-Man, like all the Spider-Man movies.
Now they're all together. It was and like with Multiverse of Madness, it's set like up for that as well, because obviously if Endgame didn't happen, No Way Home would never have happened. But then like Doctor Strange wouldn't need to be like punished or anything, or like have to open the multiverse again.
I think that's the thing. I feel like Endgame's been like the starting point to lead up to a whole new MCU.
It like started the next phase. Like, and it did it in a way that everybody knew that it was the end of that phase and the beginning of another. And that's what makes it so like important. Like everybody knows it.
No, I've never met anyone that doesn't know like the basis of Endgame.
And like even non-Marvel fans have watched Endgame. And they have like been like affected by it because it's just incredible. It's like so good.
I don't think anyone could say they've been at the cinema and not been affected by that movie.
And especially seeing it, because like I went and saw it on opening night, and it was one of those things like people stayed up to get tickets, and they like went to see it multiple times. Like I did that with No Way Home as well.
Same. I think No Way Home was like the next big, like really big thing after Endgame.
Because it was like Endgame, because after Infinity War everyone was like, what the hell, like what now? And then Endgame, massive, No Way Home, massive, and now Multiverse of Madness, that's going to be the next big thing.
I think as well though, after Endgame's happened, a lot's closed off now, and a lot of new things have started up, like Shang-Chi, and then like Eternals, a lot of things that we haven't heard anything of.
Exactly. And the fact that the old Avengers are still mentioned in those films, because they were just like a massive part of it. If
they didn't bring them up, I think they would have been like, everyone remembers them either way, and bringing them up just makes the movie more memorable.
Like with Eternals, like when they were being questioned, like why didn't you help when like Thanos came and everything, it just shows that there's like, even though that was going on, like those are the people that we're used to, those are the people that we recognise, there's still so much going on, because it's like an entire universe. Like it's just, but Endgame brought that all together.
Endgame did. Endgame brought every single little bit together and made it one big, massive, like kind of finale.
And then it started like sowing seeds again from the ending. Like it kind of like ended everything, but then started so much more stuff. Like
it started up like a whole new, I don't know.
It just
like a whole new like life.
Yeah, exactly. Because obviously the Avengers, if you think about it, if you like go see like the Eternals and then go watch like Civil War, they're so different, but obviously they're the same universe, and they existed in each other's timelines. It's just like, you get to learn about like the back stuff, like, because everyone, obviously the Avengers from like the comics, they're the most popular ones.
Exactly.
But then now it's set it up for like so much more. Yeah,
it's brought in new characters that have always been on the sidelines, never really been there, no one knew about them. And then now that like the big brand new, like not brand new, like the big like well-known characters are gone, these like sideline characters are like coming out and like
and like becoming like the main like Wanda, like Doctor Strange. And the thing is, like, even with separate TV shows like Daredevil, now Matt Murdock's involved. Like with No Way Home, he's now involved, and obviously everyone's like so excited about that. The Eternals will be involved, obviously, like Shang-Chi. That it's set up so many new characters and so like many more timelines.
Exactly. It's created like a whole new like phase for something.
Exactly. It's just, and none of that would have happened without Endgame.
Exactly.
It was like important for all of this to happen. The next phase needed Endgame to happen because it finalised everything.
Whether or not we wanted it to happen, it had to happen.
Yeah, it
did. It's one of those things.
And like the way that it ended everything, it didn't leave any strings. Like
there was nothing like left behind where people were like, "Oh, what happened with that though?"
Yeah, it was like finalising. It was like the end, but then it was also like a brand new beginning.
Yeah.
But I feel like it couldn't have been a brand new beginning if strings were left like untied.
Exactly.
They had to tie up all the strings, and they did.
Yeah, they did. There was nothing like left behind. Everything was like finished.
And people understood that, like people recognised that, and it was just like it needed to happen, and it's
no one wanted it to happen, but it had to happen.
Like it wrapped up the entirety of like Marvel before that.
Exactly.
Because like obviously the like first few films, when they introduce each individual Avenger, then they bring them together, and then there's like the other films like Black Panther and all of that. Because you get familiar with those characters, and then they all came together.
I think that was the thing. I think everyone had like found different Avengers that they liked through different separate movies, and the second that all those movies came together, it created something totally different.
Exactly. It's just people weren't expecting that to happen, so when it did happen, it's like nostalgic.
Yeah.
Because it's your comfort characters all coming together.
I think especially after Civil War, we'd never seen all six original Avengers together in one. We hadn't seen that for ages.
Or like with new characters.
Yeah.
Like
it was kind of like finalising a lot off, because the last time we saw all the Avengers with Thor, with Hulk, was like Age of Ultron.
Yeah. And then like obviously like Ragnarok happened and all of that, but then it all just stemmed from there. And obviously they've been out of each other's lives for so long, but then they come together.
They knew they always had each other.
Yeah.
Even though they weren't always in each other's pockets, they always had each other when they needed it.
Like in Infinity War, when they like kind of who was left banded together.
Yeah.
And like now Thor's with the Guardians of the Galaxy, and like Doctor Strange was with Spider-Man and Matt Murdock, and now like in Multiverse of Madness, Doctor Strange's going to be with Wanda. You're seeing pairings of characters that you never saw before.
We're seeing like something totally different that nothing's ever been seen before, and it's creating just something so brand new.
And that's like what's important about the next phase.
Yeah.
Is the fact that it's like
it's new.
Exactly, it's new. It's something that we've never seen, and sure, like people have that like comfort tied to the original Avengers, but with the new pairings, that's gonna like you're gonna get comfort with that as well.
Unseen.
Exactly.
It's unheard of.
Like with Doctor Strange and Wanda in Multiverse of Madness in the trailer, they are two of the most powerful.
They are the most powerful Avengers,
and they're together now.
Yeah.
Like it's just creating so many new opportunities.
And with the new Doctor Strange, it still brings in WandaVision.
Exactly.
When he first goes and sees her.
Like asking about Westview and all of that. But the thing is, with what I like about what they've done, like with Endgame, they showed Wanda's kind of like good power and like the fact that she is, how powerful she actually is. They expressed that. But then in WandaVision, obviously, they showed like a darker side of her, and then in Multiverse of Madness there are so many theories about her being the villain, her being like anything, but that stemmed from watching her grow and watching her like find her final power in Endgame.
Yeah.
It's just
watching her learn to see who she actually is.
like without Vision as well, because obviously like she had to kill Vision.
Yeah.
And then he got brought back alive, but then she had to watch him be killed again. All that emotion fired towards her, and then she still managed to contain herself. It's just watching different characters grow as people.
Yeah. It's like watching her grow to become something else.
Yeah. Like, it's just important.
Yeah.
Everything, it was just tied up.
It was.
And finalised. But that's basically all of our points.
Yeah, I think we have nothing else to talk about.
Covers quite a lot.
Yeah.
So thank you for watching. That's us.
Yeah, that's it.